Welcome back, F40 builders. It is still a little bit chilly. I'm just going to go through the detail today around the big block, the blown big block. So it's got some issues. I went live last week and started tearing it down, but I hadn't got to the bottom of the problem. I've definitely found it now and I've stripped the engine down. So what I thought I'd do is, obviously that's a little bit of a hiccup, a lot of work to do, which is stopping the F40 from being built. But not really, we are actually still working on that in the background. So there's plenty of stuff going on with the F40 as far as chassis and another body, which we're waiting for. It's just got to get fumigated. There was some timbers in the container that needed to get fumigated, so it's taken a couple of weeks extra. So maybe next week. And then there's still tube being cut. We've got the small rectangular tube that goes in the front of the chassis now. I think it's like 40 by 20 or 40 by 15, possibly 40 by 10, something like that. Good. All right, we'll have a look at the engine, mate. Billet with roller lifters and roller rockers. You need a bronze gear to run with that cam. It'll destroy a cast iron gear. I think you can also use a composite manifold gasket kit, all the radiator and everything. What happened? I've made this jig. So this jig fits on my press and it's got a window in it. So when I press down on the head, I could show you that later. It's out. Now check that out. Whoopsie daisy. So this is what would have happened with the exhaust valve. This is an inlet valve. It's huge, and this is the one that's in the same cylinder where the exhaust valve broke off. So as you can see, super bent. So, and it's got a nice little, so what's happened when I broke a rocker, it's held one of the valves down, the one of the exhaust valves. You can see how much smaller they are compared to the inlet valve. Then the pistons kissed the exhaust valve, put a bit of a kink in it. Then I didn't realise that. I changed all the rocker gear and the engine seemed to be running fine, but it was not fine, and I should have done a compression test. If I had done a compression test, I would have known that one of these valves was no good, and I could have saved myself a lot of drama. This happened. There's the multi-layer steel head gaskets. So they're pretty cool. They worked a treat, except, I'll tell you what, if anyone's got any advice on these, every time I use them, I have a problem with the oil leaking through between the layers, and I have little drips coming off little joiners on the outside, obviously, and on the inside, that's the outside. But you can even see that one had water coming through, little tiny drips, and it's got, and this one of them, oh yeah, there it is. I put some elastic on it to try and stop it leaking through between the layers. If anyone knows how to stop these gaskets leaking between the layers, let me know. Drive me nuts. I've tried different ways on different engines. Anyway, that's the damaged cylinder, as you can pretty obviously see. So I'm going to need, I mean, you could possibly repair this head, but the cost of repairing that, I'm going to have to get another one. This one's fine, so we'll keep running that one. Obviously need a new piston. That piston's toast. It actually does have a hole in it. If you look in there, you can see a little crack down in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, it's cracked through there. See that one? Little crack there. But anyway, and that rod's had a hard time because obviously the piston's been coming up and banging into the valve, piece of valve that was in the head. Smash, cracked the piston. Amazing, all the rings are perfect. I did shut it down straight away. I'm going to replace two rockers because two of them have had a hard time as well, but all these have looked perfect. These are comp, rated to a 1,000 pound spring. I'm running a 600 pound spring in this. Amazingly, these push rods are straight as. They're so strong. Magnum comp cams 76651. Absolutely bulletproof. Incredible. Here's the cylinder. You can see down there the crankshaft. The bore's all beautiful. There's no ridge because basically all this was brand new, and all the bore's good. So I'm very, very relieved about that. It looks all really nice in there. No problem. So that's the story with the block. The block's going to be fine, and all the bottom end's pretty good. But I will put a new rod, piston, rings, and probably these roller lifters. These roller lifters. They roll on the cam in there. I don't know if you can see in there. You can see how they sit on the cam and they roll around on the cam as the cam rotates. And this cam's actual needle roller bearing. It's a fancy push rod engine with a needle roller bearing camshaft. New rod. Couple of new bearings on it just for the hell of it. Also, rings, head, change all the valve springs over to my heavy duty valve springs, couple of new rollers, probably new roller lifters, and put it all back together. And I've taken the sump off as well, and I've inspected underneath. There's no bits and pieces, which is good. Thinking I probably do something with the oil pump as well. There's no harm in overdoing it, really. Alright, so that's what happened. So the roller rockers that were originally on it were just not up to the spec, which they came with the heads as a kit, and I checked everything with this engine and built it so carefully, but I didn't check the spec of the roller rockers. I checked the valves, I checked the springs, I overlooked the roller rockers, and they were only good for, say, 300 or 400 pound spring. They weren't good for a 600 pound spring, so they broke. They look exactly the same. The bearings look exactly the same as the ones I've got in those comp rollers. They're exactly the same size, but the shafts weren't hardened and the bearings weren't as good a quality, so they destroyed themselves. So all this has happened just because I missed a technical spec on a roller rocker. That's how easy it is. Alrighty, so lesson learned. I've certainly learned this one. But then we can get back onto the F40. So that'll be happening very soon. Alrighty, we'll see you guys later. That's the latest update.